Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Natalia, and today I'm going to show you how you can create your very own blog pages with Divi. Let me show you how they will look like. All right, so we're going to create today our blog page, which is this one. We're also going to create the blog detail page that looks something like this. This detail page will have a YouTube video embedded, it will have the comments, and it will also have a table of contents, which is important for SEO purposes. On the right, we will also have a sidebar that contains a few more infos so that the user hopefully stays on your page longer. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to create the archive page for the categories. So in this case, I have a freelancing category, and we're going to create the page where we see all related posts. And it will look the same for all category pages. So for example, web design will look the same, but as you can see, there's only one blog post that has the category web design assigned to. Okay, let's head back to the blog and let me show you how we can get started with the blog page. As you can see, this is a page, so this means we will have to go to the WordPress backend, and in the pages, we will create a new page, which I will call test blog, just because I already have my blog page. All right, we will use the Divi builder to do that page. Let's start from scratch. And just quickly, I want to show you how this section, or basically how the structure will look like. If we go into the Chrome inspector, you will see that this outermost box is a section, then it has a row. Each row contains at least one column. In our case, it's just one column. And we're going to use the Divi blog module to display all of our blog posts. Right, let's try recreating this. So let's first add a section, then we will add a row. The row will already contain the column, so we don't have to take care of that. But then we will have to add the blog module. As you will see here, it already looks pretty convincing, almost the same. There's just a few little things I would like to adjust. But as you can see, it's super, super fast, and you can get started basically in just a few minutes if you want to. I will also just remove this empty section here, which was the one that was created automatically when I loaded the page. I'm going to remove the spacing. Good. And I think I'm going to remove the spacing of the row as well. All right, much better. Now, as you can see, if we compare the two, the main thing that changes is that I have this read more button here, and it changes from purple to yellow. And that's what we're going to do now. And also, we're going to make this part here a little bit lighter and italic. All right, let's go into our blog settings. And inside of the settings, we have the design tab. Now, since I want to change the meta text, you can see when I hover over it, it will be circled blue here. So if you don't know what meta text is, you can just hover over it and then you will be shown on the left. Okay, I'm going to make the font like so, and the font color is going to be like some kind of lighter gray. All right, let's save it. And then the last thing we need to do, actually I shouldn't have saved it before, is we want to add a new element, which is the show read more button. All right, as you can see now, it already looks almost perfect. And let's try to make it look like my initial design. So you can see in the design tab, we can change the design of this button. The first thing I want to do is I want to make everything uppercase. I think, let me see how it looks with light. Yes, I think it's light, and just make it a bit smaller, maybe 13, and a little bit of padding. Okay, so why is this looking like this already? So as you can see, in my case, I can just hover over it and it will become yellow. That is because I have already some customization going on that is not here. That is just design or styling for the whole page. So I said that please, for all the links, make them purple, and if you hover over them, make them yellow. If you would want to do it here because you don't have this setup, what you need to do is just change the read more text color. Let's say you wanted to change it to pink, and then you want to change it on hover. So for that, you just click on this little icon here, change to the hover tab, and then you can change it to yellow, for example. And this way you can just customize it as you want. But because I already have that, I don't have to do anything here. Okay, I think it's regular. All right. So one thing that is left, and this is a little bit of custom CSS, is that I don't like that it's so close to the body text. So what I'm going to do is in the advanced tab, because unfortunately there is no spacing for the texts, unless I'm wrong. No, I'm not. So the spacing is just for the whole block and not for just this tag here. So what I need to do is I just need to customize it a little bit, but it's super easy. You just go to the advanced tab, and in custom CSS, you can just go down and maybe, yes. So we have the read more button. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little bit of a margin at the top. Let's say just so we can see if it works, 30 pixel. And as you can see here on the left, it's already much further apart, but I don't want to have 30 pixels. That is a bit too much. Oh, I think 15 is good enough, or even 10. All right, perfect. That's all. Let me give you a few little pointers just on how to use the blog post module. As you can see, I'm taking all the posts. I want to show 10, and if there's more than 10, there will be a button that will show up. You can even just show certain categories here, but since this is my main blog page, I don't have to do this. And then you can even change the date format, and you can also hide certain elements. For example, if you don't want to show the author, you can just untoggle this, and you see that now my name is not here anymore. But in my case, I just want to show everything. I don't mind. Okay. By the way, as you can see, I'm using a custom header. If you want to know how to do this, just check out my, I don't know, like 2 videos ago. But if you have any trouble understanding what is going on here because they overlap, then what you can always do is you can click here on the center and change to wireframe mode. And you will see if there is like some other section going on. But since there's nothing going on, I just assume that this is something just from the preview of the page. All right, so let's publish this, and I'm gonna exit the visual builder and see how it looks like. All right, perfect. So I think it looks the same. Yeah, it looks the same. Cool. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the category archive pages. Right now, they look like this, which, I mean, I guess it's okay, but it's not perfect. And I want them to look like this. So there's a few things we need to do to get to this stage. The first thing is you need to go to the Divi theme builder, and then you will create a new template. This template you will assign to all category pages. This will make sure that every time a category page is loaded, it will have this design. Okay, and now let's create a custom body. And as you can see here, the custom body is pretty simple. We're also going to use the blog module, but we're going to design it a little bit different. And then we also have a title and a button that just redirects back to the blog page in case someone wants to. Okay, let's start creating this. We already have a section. Now we just need to create a new row. And inside of the row, let's start by adding the blog module again. Okay, now there is one specific thing that you need to enable now that we're not on the main blog archive page, because now we just want to show the blog posts that are assigned to this specific category and not just all of the blog posts. To do that, you just toggle this setting here. And this way, it will just show the ones that are from, in my case, freelancing or web design or whatever. That's the main thing. Now, the other thing that we're going to do is I want to show you how the layout can look like if you just, instead of full width, use the grid one. And as you can see, we are already much closer to this end result. Now, let's just add the border here, so it can look the same. To do that, we're going to the design tab, and then in the box shadow, we're going to choose the second one. I think it's 10, 10, 0, 0. And this way you will have a sharp border and it's not going to be blurry. And I'm just going to choose the black color. And one last thing that is missing here is the border. I'm gonna give 1 pixel, but in black. It already has 1 pixel border width. Now you can see that the border here is black. Before it was like some kind of light gray, almost invisible, but I like it to be just solid black. All right, what else? we need to make this title a bit bigger. And again, we want to make this italic and gray and adjust this read more button so it looks more similar to what we did before. Okay. So as we know, the meta text is this one. We're going to make it a bit smaller. I think 16 is fine. And then we're going to have a light gray color. If you have a specific color in mind, you can just add it here. But for me, yeah, I don't really mind, just light gray color. We're going to adjust the title so it's bigger. Let's say 24 or even 32. Yeah, I think this is the size that we had before. And I think I forgot to make the meta text italic. Yes, all right. Now let's add the element show read more button so we have it available and just adjust it so it looks like this design that I showed you before. So we make it a little bit smaller, we add some letter spacing and make everything uppercased. And even if it's not showing up here, this is the same link, so it will become yellow on hover. All right, so this part is done. Now what is missing is the title and the link back to the blog page. To do that, I will create a new row just to have them a bit more separate, but you could also create them in the same row. And because it's two things here, I will do some customization again, but you can also just work with columns and you will get a very similar result. So let me show you how you could do it without any coding. You would have to, let's say, for example, choose the 4-column pattern. And here we will choose just text. And the cool thing about Divi is that here we have something called dynamic content. And for the dynamic content, what I can do is say, okay, just show me the post or archive title, and it will just dynamically populate the title here. So one thing that is left is, because this is the main title of the page, this is always an H1 tag. And what you can do with Divi is just add the H1 tag here and close it here. And now it's clear for Divi that this needs to be a title. Okay. Maybe we can make it a bit bigger after, but basically this is how you add the title. And as you can see, I just changed it so the background is black and it's, oh, actually it says archive at the front, but the font is white. So what I need to do this is just head over to the text settings. In background, I'm going to change it to black. Then in the text or heading, actually, because now that we've added the H1 tag, this is an H1, we will make it white. And as you can see, we have, there's no padding here. So I'm going to add some spacing as well, maybe 15 pixels or so. We can also make it dependent on each other. And then this way you don't have to, do anything manually, or to both manually. And the last thing is add the archive off. And as maybe you have guessed it, but if we are able to add the H1 here, what we can also do is write archive 4 and then a space. So we have a space after, or just archive. All right. Okay, let's leave it like this for now. And then the second one would be also a text, but you cannot add it to the same text field because this text field has a black background and white font, and we don't want to have the same styling here. So that's why I'm creating a new text field. And I'm just going to write back to blog. It's super easy. There is a link tab here. You can just, I'm going to do test blog because this is where we created our blog before. You can also use, by the way, the dynamic content option and say, okay, now link it to a page. And then here you can change the page that you want to link to. But for me, test blog is perfect. So that's what I'm going to do. And lastly, I'm just going to style the text a little bit so it looks like the example I have in the front. All right, I'm going to make it purple. Yes. Going to add a underline. I'm going to make it purple, and on hover I want it to be yellow. If you don't see this for a reason, you can just click on it and it will show up. Okay, so cool. Okay. So this is good. Now let's just save it and look at it in the front end. When you do this kind of theme or templates, what is very important is that you save it first, then you exit, and in the end you also have to click on save changes, because if you don't do that, it will not apply. Okay, now I guess it's saved. Let's reload this page here, and as you can see, it's what we just designed. Cool. You can also play around with it a little bit if you still want to use the Divi page builder and don't want to use any custom code. Maybe instead of having this size, you can just, change the column size a bit to make it, let's say, something like this. And it already looks much more similar to my design from before. Cool. I guess I need to make it a bit bigger, the title, and that's good. So let's make it bigger. I think 32 is fine. All right, but as you can see, it doesn't look quite the same. Why? Because I did something a bit different, and I'm going to show you what I did. Feel free to just skip this part if you don't want to use any code, and this is enough for you, but I'm going to show you what I did here so it looks like this. All right, so first of all, we need to remove the columns. I just want to have one column. So you can see now these two are below each other. And what you need to do to change it is you will go inside the row settings, you will go inside of the column, and then in the advanced, you will click on custom CSS. In the custom CSS, you will say display flex. And as you can see, it's already looking much more similar. Let's see how it looks on the front end now, just so we can see it working step by step. Okay, first, let's see. Okay, cool. So this means that this part here will be as wide as necessary, and this is just going to be next to it. But right now, the spacing is missing, and it's also not aligned at the bottom, right? So let's do it. For spacing, there's a property called gap, and I'm going to add 20 pixels. And as you can see, we already have a little gap now. And the last thing, what we're going to do is we are going to align the items at the flex end. Okay, cool. I know it looks funny right now, but bear with me for a second. So this is what we need to do to make it look like I did. But there's one little problem, and then that's what I'm going to show you. If we look at this part here, there's still some margin, that's why this part here is aligning here, because for the computer, this means that actually this text module goes up until here. That's why it's looking like this. So what we need to do is we need to change this by, let me quickly check. Is it the text module? Yes, it's the text module. Okay. We can go to spacing and we can remove the margin from the bottom. And now it looks already much, much, much better. Let's see. Perfect. That's all you need to do. And as you can see, I think here I didn't add as much spacing to the bottom and the top, but you get the idea how to do this. The rest is looking exactly the same. Cool. Now let's tackle the last part, which is actually the one that takes the most time, which is this part here. Maybe you've guessed it already, but we're going to create a template for this post, or for all the posts, as well as we did for the categories. Okay, to do it, we need to exit this design. I'm gonna save it just to be sure. And I already have my design here, but let me quickly disable it. All right, so now if you want to create this block design, you will again create a new template. And then you will say, show this template for all the posts. You can also create templates for different categories, which is very cool. If you have very different categories, you can just, create a template for each one. But for me, it's enough that they look the same everywhere. Okay, so let's say I want to have it for all the posts. And then let's start by building our custom body. So I'm going to close this. How does this look like? So at the top, we have some breadcrumbs, which will come from a plugin that we will install. We have a title, we have the image, we have the table of contents that will come from another plugin. Then we have all of this. And at the end, we also have a YouTube video that we will also be using advanced custom fields for. And on the right, we have a little image of me, a short description, some links to my social media, and also the latest posts. Let's get started by installing all of the plugins that we will need for this to work. All right, so you will have to install Advanced Custom Fields. Advanced Custom Fields lets you add fields to your posts or art or pages or whatever you want to, and you don't have to use any code to do it. It's pretty easy. You just install it and you will have this menu item on the left, and you can create a new group. And my group is just called Posts, and here I added a field called YouTube Video. You can just click on Add Field and add a new field. My field here is just a URL type because I want to add a URL, and you can name it whatever you want. If we take a look at this post, you will see that scrolling down, we have a field here at the bottom called YouTube Video, which is the one that I created. And I was just able to copy paste my YouTube video URL, and it will be embedded without me having to do anything else. So this is great, particularly if you are someone that is creating this website, maybe for someone, because they can just, you can make it look like this. You can even disable the Divi builder, by the way, and then they can just add, the YouTube video here, and they don't have to worry about like how to style it or anything. All right. Good. So this is the first plugin that we need. Then we will also need the easy table of contents. This will also give you a new menu item here. You can just install it as you would any other plugin. And I just enabled the posts because I just need it on posts. And then there are a few additional settings that you can do. For me personally, I changed this to transparent. I also did say that the width needs to be 100%. And I also am showing, like, I didn't say initially hide the table of contents, but I'm also not allowing them to toggle the view, because if I did, it would look different and I didn't like the design. So just make sure that you test whatever you want to, you just change something, go to the front end, look how it looks like, and then you can just adjust it. That's what I did until I found the right combo for me. And here you can also say if you want to show only certain headings in your table of contents, this plugin will make it automatic. We will just use a little shortcode that we will add in our design, and then the table of contents is going to be created automatically, and you don't have to do this manually every time. It will just use the headings that you add to your text. And here you can see we have the shortcode that we will use very soon. Good. And then the last thing that we want to install is also Yoast SEO. Maybe you've heard of it. This is just an SEO plugin, and this will also make sure that we are able to use breadcrumbs throughout our website. But I will get back to this in a minute. And there's one thing that is very optional, because in my case, I'm embedding a video and I want to use Divi's video module. Unfortunately, Divi's video module doesn't have dynamic content. So what I did is I enabled the code snippets, or I downloaded the code snippets plugin, and the code snippets plugin enables me to add short snippets of code without having to go into each file and, potentially mess something up. It's also safer to do this if you don't feel comfortable changing files. You can find this short code also in the link that I will add into the description, because I didn't invent this. This was from another blog that I found, and you can just add this little short code here, and then the video module will be able to take dynamic content. But we will get to that in a second. Sorry for getting maybe a little bit off the topic with everything, but this is just preparation so we can do this really, really quickly afterwards. Okay, now that we have everything installed, we will start by building our template. As you can see, we will have a section on the left and the smaller section on the right. And we want to just, add a section at the bottom as well. And to do this, what I did is I didn't use a normal section. I used a specialty section. And here I chose the second design. This makes it possible for you to add additional rows within the basically second column, or additional columns within the second column, which is great if you want to add additional things. I don't think I would have needed it necessarily, but I'm going to show you how I did it anyway. All right, the first thing, let's change the background color because this is also looking a bit different. And then we're going to add a code module. And within the code module, we will add the breadcrumbs module of Yoast SEO. Let's see how it looks like. If we go to Yoast SEO, I think it's in the settings. Make sure that in the advanced breadcrumbs, you have this enabled, because if you don't, it will not work. And you can also just click on this documentation here, and then you will see that you are able to just find the short code here. So the short code is this. Okay, so here we have our code module, and we will add the short code here. That's the first thing we're going to do. And I'm just going to create the layout really quickly, and then we can head over to, fixing the design. But for now, we're just going to do it really fast. Then after that, we need to add another module, which is called post title. And the post title will give you the option to show the title and the featured image. So you don't have to do this, like one by one. It's just a faster solution to do this. And I'm going to, it's actually on top of the title. Great. Now I'm a bit unsure if I did choose the right one. Oh, okay. So I did a mistake. It's actually this one, but no worries. It's exactly the same. So let's add a row. I'm just gonna copy this module, paste it, copy, and then paste it. Cool. Now it looks the same, and I'm just gonna change the background color. All right, so we are at the same as we were before. Now we go to the table of contents. And as you saw before, the table of contents has a short code here, which is very handy for us. We can just add another code module from Divi and paste the short code from the table of contents. It will be already looking like this. And again, I'm just going to get into design stuff later. Let's just create the layout first. Now, all of this is the blog content. So let's see, content, and just choose the post content, and let's just save it to make sure that everything is saved. And lastly, we want to add a title called Watch on YouTube and use dynamic content to embed this video. Okay, so I'm going to add a text, Watch on YouTube, and maybe this should be an H3 or something like this. And now let's use, by the way, if you cannot manage to do this, just change to wireframe mode and do it like this. And then we can choose the video module. All right, so if we didn't use the code snippet that I showed you before, we would not be able to see this here. But since we have the option to add a dynamic content, and you will be able to see the ACF, means advanced custom fields. This is the field that we created before. And here we will just show the video. But you will not see anything in the preview. This is just, for us. Then at the bottom, I'm going to add a regular section with one row. And here I'm going to choose the comments module from Divi. All right, so we're almost done with the layout, which was super fast. What takes more time is just actually preparation. So, downloading the plugins, setting them up and everything. But once you're done and once you know what you want to do with your design, it's quite fast. Okay, now let's see. We will have an image here at the top. So let's take the image module. I'm going to choose this image, and just very quickly, I'm going to align it in the center, and I'm going to give it a 50% border radius so it's rounded. Of course, I will also make it a bit smaller later, but it's just for the layout right now. I'm going to add a text module where I add hi, Alia. And again, this is going to be adjusted a bit later. And why am I doing this with two text modules? Because this should look different. We will use a different font. That's why I'm using a text module for this one and then another one for the second one. Okay, I'm gonna paste this and just adjust this so it's centered. We will have to use our social media follow. This is going to be Instagram for me, and I'm gonna look up the link later. For now, I'm just gonna add this, and then I'm going to use YouTube as well. And let's center them as well. Okay. And then we will have a title called latest posts and the latest posts. So again, another text module. This is going to be an H3 or 4, that's fine. And then we're going to use the blog module again. We actually already used it before, and as you can see, it will just show up all the posts, and because it shows the latest posts at the top, we will see, we can just use it for this purpose. One thing that we need to change is we don't want to show everything here, right? So let's just hide the author, the date, the categories, and I also don't want to show any text here. I just want to show the title. All right, and I think that is all. You can also, by the way, I'm going to not show 10, but I'm just going to show the latest 3. And as you can see, in a few minutes, we created this whole layout. And what is left is just adjusting the styling. But let's see how it looks like right now if we just save this. And remember that we need to exit and save the changes again, because otherwise it's not going to work. Okay, let's see how it looks like. I'm just going to leave this open so we can have a reference for after. Okay, so we're very, very close to this one. It's just detail work now. Okay, so let's first of all style this a little bit differently, because it looks, yeah, it's just some styling of the text. So let's first style this one. And because this is a code section, we are not able to style the text here. So what we need to do is we need to do it manually in custom CSS. This is the main element. Let's say text transform case. This will make everything uppercase. Letter spacing is going to be 1 pixel. Then and I think the main thing is also that the weight is not the same. So font weight going to be, I'm gonna just write 100 for now. I think that is all. Let's compare. So also this seems to be smaller. Let's start by adjusting this. I think it should be 32. And there's a lot of things that you can do about spacing, because the spacing right now is just bad. So if I just put 10 pixels. Yeah, so it was margin, it was not padding. Let's add a bit more. And then here, unfortunately, again, there is no spacing for the title that you can just add here, but it's super easy. Custom CSS, you look for the title and then you add a margin bottom, I don't know, 15 pixels maybe. And as you can see here, it increased the space between the title and the image. Scroll down. So this part here has a white background and some padding. Let's change the background to white and let's add some spacing. I'm just gonna write maybe 30 and 30. Okay, this looks good. And then at the bottom, we need to change the spacing, and we also want to add the yellow background here. Going to add a bit of spacing between the title and the text here. And the last thing is here, background. Okay, so what we can do if this doesn't work for some reason, it seems that the dynamic content changed it, you can just add a new row and use the same video module. Let's just remove this one. And now we can just add a background color to the section, or to the row, sorry, to the row. And let's add some padding. Okay, cool. Here at the right, we will make the image, actually it's this one. We will make the image smaller and make all of this italic and change the font and the color of the title. To make the image smaller, let's go to design, sizing, and I think I'm just gonna try with 150 pixels, max width. And now let's change this one. First of all, let's remove the margin from the bottom because it looks too separated. In the text, we can change the font, text font, but let me quickly check what the font is again because I don't remember. Nothing you could do. By the way, the cool thing is if you want to test any fonts, Divi has all the Google fonts embedded. You can just go to fonts.google.com and just check them out here. That's what I did. You can just look for handwriting, for example, and just write like, hi, I'm Tanya, and then you can look how it would look like before you try it out in Divi. And that's how I found this font. Nothing you could do. Okay, let's change it. It's actually already here. And I think I need to make it a bit bigger because otherwise it's just too small. And change it to purple. No need to make this one italic, but this one here. This is also just a regular text. And I think it's a bit smaller. Yes, so I would also make it smaller, maybe 16. I would suggest not making it smaller than 16 because for mobile, Google might think it's too small and it's not good. So I would change it to 16 and also adjust the line height so it's closer together. And the same goes here. Let's remove the margin at the bottom. All right. Do I have additional text? Yes, I have some additional text here. So the sizing, actually the spacing needs to be more than 0. It needs to be maybe 10. Wonderful. And here we will also do some custom CSS because there's no option to change the spacing between these. But no worries, it's super easy. Again, let's just change the title first. Actually, I want to make this maybe not H2, but H3. And it already looks much better. And I'm also going to change the font style because I don't want to use the usual font that I'm using. I'm going to use this one, make it smaller, 18 maybe, and then italic. Yes. Okay, cool. Guess I could add some space in here. All right. Now it looks much more like this. The only thing left is we need to remove the spacing between the text or the title and the image, because as you can see, and also between the posts, because here it's still too far away. So again, let's go to the advanced tab, custom CSS, and let's look for the title. Let's see if we can just remove the margin top a bit. This is not possible because I actually not quite sure if it's the margin comes from the image. So let's see, margin bottom. Okay, cool. So the margin comes from the image. Let's remove it. And let's figure out what else is causing this space. We can just head over to this and inspect it. Yeah, actually it is the featured image. So this should already make it much better. And if we're already inspecting this, let's see how there is a big margin after each article here. You can see it. So we need to remove that. As you can see, we have a margin of 60 pixels and we maybe just want, I don't know, 25 or less, 15. Okay, to do this, there is no option in the, even if we want to add custom CSS here, because this we don't have this specific element available here. But what we can do is we can give this a class. We can call this class, for example, posts in sidebar, just so we know what it means. And don't forget to save this. And now we head over to our customizer. I'm going to open the blog here so we actually see what is going on. Okay. And now in additional CSS, we can just, I have a few things here as well, but you can just paste your class. Don't forget to add a dot in the front, because if you don't have the dot, it will not know that this is a class. And we will just open curly braces and add margin bottom. Let's say 0 for now. And don't forget to close it with semicolon. We can try and look if this is already working. If not, we might need to add an important keyword at the end. Okay, let's reload this page here. Okay, let's see. So there's still the margin, so this is not yet working. We probably just need to add the important. Oh, I'm sorry, there's one mistake that I did. Because actually this is not the post inside the bar. Where is it? Ah, exactly. So post inside bar is the parent and this is the child. So what we need to do is first change this, copy. We already have this. And then what we need to, where we need to change the margin is not on this element here, but on this one, which is this. Do it, we will just add a space and then copy the other class. And as you can see here on the right, it instantly changed the margin. Cool. We're almost done. There's just, if I'm not mistaken, there's just one thing left. And this is adjusting how this will look like. Let's add a test comment just so we see everything. This is how it will look like. But I don't like the buttons. I want the buttons to look like this. So this is the last thing I'm going to change in this style. You just go to the comment module, and here we also have a design tab, and there is a tab for button, and we will just use custom styles for this button. Okay, I think I need to make it smaller. Then the button text color is purple. Everything is uppercased, and we will have some letter spacing. Let me just comparing it so it's clear. This is even smaller. Say maybe 16. I don't have any. Oh, I have a width, but I don't have a radius. My border radius is 0. This makes this sharper at the end, at the borders. And now the button icon is also going to be purple, but this is going to be a different icon like this. And let's change also the background color to white, so it stays white. Actually, if you don't see the border here, it's possible that it's just from the preview. We will have to see, but yeah, for now we can just leave it. And of course the border color is black, it's not purple. Almost there. Now let's add a box shadow like we did before. Oh, actually we cannot. Can we do it here? Yeah, so the button box shadow should look something like this. We already did it before. It was 8, or it was 10 and 10. Doesn't matter. And then make it black, and now it looks like before. One thing that is left is the spacing, because this has less spacing than this look here. So what we need to do is, again, some customization, because there is no spacing for the button. So let's head over to the custom CSS, look for the reply button. Actually, here you can do it differently for the reply button and also for the submit button, but we will just copy paste it for both of them. Okay, let's add some padding here and something like 10 pixels at the top and at the bottom and 15 pixels at the left and right. And let's paste it to the submit button. And that's good. I think maybe let's add 20 instead. I think we don't see this really well here, but that's fine because this is close enough for this purpose. This one, let's reload it. Cool. So it's almost perfect. I'm not going to, waste more time showing you how to get it perfect because you're probably not going to recreate exactly the same design, but this is just for the purpose of showing you how it would work. And the rest, I think, is, yeah, looking exactly the same. Now we created our blog page, we created our category archive pages, and we even created the blog post so they look exactly the same for all of your posts. Okay, that's it for today. If you want to learn more about creating websites with Divi, please subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching. See you next time.